favorite scary movie.
You just saw a clip from the original Psycho from 1960. I'm not showing the trailer for the remake because you don't need to see it, because Gus Van Sant did the exact same thing. It's Psycho 98, and here to bear the brunt of this with me, one half of Notorious by Chance, it's Russell Howell. Russell, thank you so much for your sacrifice. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I always like talking about anything, so I'm glad I could jump on the grenade for everybody.
Well, like I was alluding to, this is the remake of Psycho, which is honestly not just one of the best horror films ever, one of the best films, period, ever. Like Hitchcock, that was like at the top of his game for him. And in terms of enjoyability, North by Northwest is my favorite, but Psycho's like right behind it. So I had heard that this movie had a reputation, but I went into it with an open mind. And shout out, first of all, to Russell for sending me a couple things. Number one, he sent me a YouTube video where it was a side-by-side comparison between the original and the remake. Not only did Van Sant copy like pretty much the entire movie, but he copied little things too, like mannerisms the characters have across both the original and the remake. He did nothing different. And I've heard like this was like an experiment of sorts, but I don't know. I don't kill the idea of horror remakes in my mind, Russell. I feel like there
Yeah.
are good ones out there. I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like in the hands of a certain director, you can do something different with a remake. I feel like the door is open for that. I mean, Dracula and Frankenstein from the 30s are technically remakes, sort of,
Yeah.
kind of, if you dig down deep into it. This was just lazy on the part of Mr. Van Zandt, and he's no hack. Like, he directed Good Will Hunting, and while that was Matt Damon and Ben Affleck doing a lot of the heavy lifting there,
Yeah.
it's he still directed Good Will Hunting, so he's not bad at his job. This is just an odd choice. This whole movie is just an odd choice.
Yeah, especially like you said, as soon as I mean it was right after Good Will Hunting, he tackled this and I don't know if it was a passion project. I just think it was kind of silly that, even the dialogue was word for word. Yeah, just laziness and just kind of unnecessary. We really didn't need the an updated billing of this film. But and it's crazy the cast in this too, though, man. It's like stacked with some good actors and actresses.
Yeah, I'm going to read off some of the names. I'm not going to get them all, but I'm just going to read off some of them just for the sake of saying in 98, these were some pretty heavy hitters. Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates, Anne Hesh as Marion Crane, Julianne Moore as Lila Crane, Viggo Mortensen, aka Aragorn from Lord of the Rings, is in this. It's so sidebar. It's so weird to see Viggo Mortensen in anything outside Lord of the Rings for me.
My first exposure to him was A Perfect Murder, the one with Gwyneth Paltrow, and I love that film. It was just one of those ones where I really just enjoyed this film a lot. Um, and he obviously, in a short synopsis of it, it's pretty much Gwyneth Paltrow cheats on her husband, and Viggo Mortensen is the lover, and then Michael Douglas's character hires Viggo Mortensen to try to kill her, and it's Hitchcockian too for sure. For thriller-esque. But yeah, it is really crazy to see all these different actors and actresses involved in this project for sure. Even William H. Macy. I mean, it's crazy.
Not to mention, and that's just some of the heavy hitters. You got William H. Macy as Milton Arbogast, the private investigator. You got Robert Forster, the Hoover shop vac guy from Breaking Bad. He's in this a year after doing Jackie Brown. Philip
Yep.
Baker Hall is in this. Flea, the bass player from Red Hot Chili Peppers, is in this movie. His role is brief, but he is in there. And
Yeah.
because Van Sant had to rip off everything from the original, he makes a brief cameo like Hitchcock always did in all of his films. So the cast is large. I don't know what could have been done differently. It's hard to beat the original Psycho. I guess maybe you could have gone a different angle with it, but I think, and
Yeah.
Russell, I didn't know if you know this, I think you might know a little something about this. there's more than one Psycho movie. There's Psycho 2, 3, and 4. There's
Yeah.
also Bates Motel, which was a very successful TV show on A&E starring Freddie Highmore. Haven't seen all of it, but what I have seen, I've enjoyed. So Psycho is a surprisingly consistent little franchise.
Yeah.
So to remake it just seems very bizarre. And like, unless you're going in a different route of we're going to take it in a different angle, but what angle is there to take? So
No. Yeah. I mean, the only thing you did differently, and it was crazy because this was my first exposure to Psycho. Keep in mind, I was 15 when this came out, so I had not seen the OG 1960 Hitchcock Psycho. So I did see this one, and then later on down the road, obviously, I saw the OG. But the only thing different that they did was date it 98. That's it. Everything else, and that's the other thing. The dialogue doesn't sound like 1998, and that's the other thing that really kind of gets this movie uh, that modern twist that they're trying to do. It doesn't work because of the fact of the dialogue. They're stuck in the 1960s with it. You know what I mean?
and I don't necessarily like need for the movie to reek of like 90s dialogue. I don't need Norman Bates to be like if you smell what I'm cooking or
Yeah,
something to that effect. Like if you want to make the dialogue universal, like that's fine. Like please just do that. But
yeah.
it's like I don't know, it just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit at all.
No, even when Marion is getting the car, you hear Rob Zombie from the car dealership. You do catch that, and I think that was kind of funny too, a callback for the 90s.
Oh, that's a good catch. I forgot about that until just
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
So there's definitely notes of this is 98, but it's really hard to tell because like again, put together side by side, you're just like unless you're really looking, you really wouldn't be able to tell, but that's
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like even the music's the same. The opening shot, opening credit scene, score. I mean, just everything. They just kind of cut and pasted. It was really just kind of lazy.
what did you think of Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates? I was not a fan.
I mean, he's a good actor. Don't get me wrong. I do like him when he does serious roles. Um, to me, again, this was my first. I'm trying to think. 98. Have I seen him in anything else? I think this was my first exposure to Vince Vaughn. I don't even think. Yeah. Oh, I actually take that back. No, because Rudy. He was in Rudy. He was good enough. I just thought that it just wasn't Anthony Perkins. Um, it just wasn't what you were, you know what I mean? What you're trying to do, like try to like stay even kilter with. Um, I just it was hard, but I mean I'm gonna give it to Gus Van Sant though that he did pull in a good cast. I mean this is a
Mhm.
star-studded cast. This isn't like these guys were just just blindly put together. I mean he had like a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson's usual suspects and Julianne Moore, Philip Baker, uh, William H Macy. Those guys were all in Boogie Nights the year before. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy that all these guys were in their peak acting for sure. I think Vince Vaughn might have been a little bit newer, but all these other guys were in their like right in their glory. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't care. Like I wouldn't say he was awful. It wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't for me.
For me personally, the deal breaker was that Anthony Perkins did it in such a way to where it kind of threw you off to when it realized that he was the killer all along. Because
Yeah,
even though there was some stuff off about him, if you were to like really look at him from like just looking at it with a naked
yeah,
pair of eyes, you look at him and
yeah,
go, he seems pretty normal. I
yeah,
never bought that with Vince Vaughn's like portrayal here. Like he wears a turtleneck in 98. That's just a
yeah,
turnoff right there. That's a big old red flag so big it might as well just like dwarf
yeah,
the screen. And then he
yeah,
also like taunts like William H. Macy's character almost. There's just a lot of
yeah.
obvious tells, I guess, where I would just be like, yeah, there's something really weird going on in this place.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Anthony Perkins was more of the innocent looking character. You know what I mean? You really didn't think that this guy could really do this type of you know killing and be this menacing. And I think that's why it works so good for Hitchcock. Um, even with like Vince Vaughn's laugh, it's kind of hard to get past too because you hear that same laugh in Old School and any of the comedies he's in. The little ha 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 ha, like you hear it all the time in like literally all of his movies. But it just I don't know. It's crazy. Anne Heche was she was big in the mid '90s too. 6 days, 7 nights had just I think it was like right around the same time. She was big for that.
She was in I Know What You Did Last Summer the year prior
Yeah, yeah,
as
she was she as
as
the mom
the
or
brother of the supposed killer. So yeah, I
yeah,
was gonna bring up Anne Hesh, but you beat me
yeah.
too.
Well, no, and it's crazy she passed away too. Keep in mind she's 29 in this film. Um, very talented actress. When given the good source material. Obviously, not much to really go from here because you're literally just copying pasting. But I still think Anne Heche was really good in this, though.
Yeah, she was honestly, I think she may have been the best part. And then
Yeah,
Julianne Moore is suitably good. But I mean, it's Julianne Moore. Like she's never gonna
yeah.
phone it in as far as I'm aware.
No, I mean she's just a great actress. She's always on. Like she can make any movie really really entertaining. I know it's funny because Chance and I are literally reviewing the our next episode's Carrie, the remake of Carrie, and she's Carrie's mom. It was
Oh
funny
yeah,
because
I
I'm like,
forgot about that.
yeah. So I just thought that was kind of funny. But even in there, I mean, she's still putting in a solid performance. She's just a really great actress.
Yeah, and like I said at the start of the video, kind of putting the period at the end of the sentence of this review, I don't kill the idea of horror remakes in my head. There are actual good ones. I think the Friday the 13th remake is actually better than people give credit for.
I agree.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake we got in '03. It's not as
Yep,
good as the original, but I put it on par.
I liked it.
Evil Dead that we got from Alexander Aja, or no, wait. It's Fede
Fede
Alvarez.
Alvarez. Yeah.
My bad.
No, you're
But
good.
Evil Dead from 2013, that was epic. And it's not as good as the original, but I mean, what else could there be that's better than the original Evil Dead? I
I think you're
mean, I
thinking.
could go, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Alexander Aja did the Hills Have Eyes, I believe,
I have
remake.
not seen that. I do want
I'm,
to.
I think that's the one he did. If I'm not 100%. Like, let me fact check that. I'm pretty sure he did Hills Have Eyes.
I guess the point I'm trying to get at is that there are
Yeah,
good horror remakes out there. David
yeah,
Cronenberg directed The Fly, which was a remake of a Vincent Price film I've
yeah,
already covered on this channel a couple of years back. So it is possible to make a good remake. It is technically a remake. And that
yeah.
movie, at least It Chapter 1 was really good. It Chapter 2, I don't know what they were smoking over there,
No,
but it was
it
not.
chapter two was no, it chapter two was awful. It was, and I was probably like it was an hour too long. It didn't know what direction it was trying to go.
The point, like I said, point I'm trying to get at is there are good horror remakes out there. There are bad ones too, and Psycho 98 is unfortunately one of the bad ones. It's not like Rob Zombie's Halloween, where it's so different. It just is. That movie is a lot of things, and it's not good. But the thing about Psycho is that it doesn't even try to be different.
Yeah,
Which, I mean, Van Sant tried to spin it off as like being, it's not different because it's like not different. I'm like, no, you just did the same thing. You literally
yeah.
copied off the homework.
Yeah,
So,
and he knows it, and it's crazy that and I even told you I pointed that scene out at the beginning when Anne Hesh comes into work and you see a burly set gentleman talking to um, Gus Van Sant's character, and it's supposed to be from what I saw in the trivia on Amazon Prime or was it IMDb, one or the other. It was supposed to be Alfred Hitchcock, pretty much like lecturing Gus Van Sant, which is like, okay, so why are you doing this? Like, it's really kind of crazy, but um, some of the nuances, like Gus Van Sant, like literally had the movie playing side by side when they were doing things. So if something accidentally happened, he kept it in there, kind of like what Hitchcock did in the 1960 film. Um, there was one funny scene where so Vince Vaughn puts the car into the back, like that little ravine area, and you can already see the back taillights already have water in it before it even goes into the water. And that's because they had done the scene a couple times prior to, you could actually still see the water in the backup lights, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's not it's takes you out of it hard, but I mean it's a nice tidbit to like pick up on. But so to close things out, this is one of the horror remakes that just was not great. But thankfully there's way better Psycho movies out there. I recommend Psycho 2 just to throw it out there. That movie didn't expect much from it, turned out to be really solid, like even without Hitchcock's involvement. It falls on the back of Anthony Perkins. He just knew what to do and he absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. Like I told you, uh, yeah, I had not seen that one. Obviously seen the OG since the 1998 Psycho. So, um, really crazy. Like I said, I'd put another bad remake. I'd throw Nightmare on Elm Street in that. That's really awful
Oh
too.
God, yeah, that one was awful. I mean, bless Jackie Earl Haley. I think like he can be good. He was good in Watchmen, but the character directions they took with Freddy Krueger, and I won't bring it up because I don't know if I can talk about it on this channel without getting struck down. Let's just say Freddy Krueger in that remake loves the kids, and that's all you
Yeah.
need to know. But
Yeah.
it just a terrible decision. But I passed it off to all of you. What you think of Psycho 98? Let us know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. Like Russell brought up, he and Chance Ellison are going to be talking about the Carrie remake, which I have not seen in a minute. But so that's due for a rewatch from me. But I'll put a link in the description. Go give them a subscribe and a follow. They do deserve it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And like I said, it's one of those things where remakes, like even Carrie, I even throw Carrie in there. That it's not solid, not a very solid remake. Nightmare on Elm Street, I'd throw in there. Halloween, I like enough. I know Rob Zombie gets a lot of flack for it. I do like the whole backstory of Michael Myers. I think that's interesting. And then Halloween 2 is just, well, he's just Tyler Mane is just so menacing as a Michael Myers character. Um, but Jackie Earle Haley was actually not the first choice to play Freddy. I guess they really wanted Billy Bob Thornton. I think that would have been really cool if we would have
Oh,
actually gotten that. I
that
think
would
that
have
would have
been
been really.
interesting.
I think it would have been really cool. But like you said, Jackie Earle Haley was coming off The Watchmen. He was coming off the movie Little Children, where actually he does play a pedophile in that movie. It was a fantastic movie, by the way. If you haven't seen Little Children, it's really great. Kate Winslet's in it. Patrick Wilson, really solid movie.
Well, definitely go give a subscribe to Notorious by Chance. They do a lot of great work over there. But Scary Mania 5 is almost done. So just one more movie left to cover from the year 1998, and then we close things out with one from 99. But tomorrow I'm going to be covering a little movie, the found footage movie that came before the Blair Witch Project called The Last Broadcast. So stay tuned for that.